Can an orbital uplink save you from griefers? And I'm not talking about those simple ones that just want to try to hijack you and take you away in their Corvette. I'm talking about the kind that will put you into a death loop. Well, I went out to test this and found more than I could possibly imagine.
Yeah, there we go.
My recent video on the subject got a ton of comments. Plenty of suggestions how to escape from hijackers. All good advice, but apparently not all of them actually work. For example, turning off multiplayer to make the ship you're stuck in disappear? This doesn't always work. And anyway, those orbital uplinks are for the expedition, so how can you get one out of the expedition? Does it even work in the normal save? GoodGuysFree here, doing my best to help keep you safe, even in multiplayer, so let's get started. The topic has been hot on the lips of many creators recently. How can you get an orbital link for yourself? Come to the Discord server, we're going to be handing them out, link in the description. Anyway, Professor Cynical's recent video showed that if you board someone else's Corvette on the space anomaly without being in a group with them, and they leave the anomaly, you get teleported to their star system, potentially revealing their bases and possibly nearby systems. I think I know why this is, and I don't think there was a choice really. But we'll get to that in a minute. So to all of you who say don't play multiplayer, please hit like to help the channel and stop watching. This video is not for you. I apologize if you watched this far with no good reason. Okay, the first thing I wanted to test was what happens if you are in a group and the other player uses an orbital uplink.
Use the uplink.
Well, the first thing we found out is that you can't use it while seated in the captain's seat.
Cannot use card, it says.
The error message may be different for different ship types, but generally you need to be standing for this to work. When I tested this with Big Man Jesse VR, thanks man, a member on my Discord, he activated the orbital uplink, and I found myself in space for a second and then immediately in my ship. We then tried to have him block the exit to mimic a kidnapping case, and I used the orbital uplink. Boom! I was at the station, but so was he. I then tested to see what happens when I am in Big Man Jesse VR's ship and I disable multiplayer. Well, if you're in a group, nothing happens. When I tested this with Big Man Jesse VR, the ship remained until he took off and I was left alone on the station floor. So I tested what happens if you're not in a group and you're with a random player. To make it absolutely pristine, I asked GreaseMonkey663 for his help. To begin, I removed GreaseMonkey663 from my friend list, and he removed me from his. I then asked him to come to the planet I was on using glyphs. When he arrived, he summoned his Corvette and I entered. I used the uplink to reach the station fast and waited for him to land. I entered his ship and tried to disable multiplayer. No matter what we did, his ship did not disappear. If I were trapped in it, disabling multiplayer would not help me. He even flew to space and I left his ship on a spacewalk, to no avail. When we flew into the anomaly and I disabled multiplayer, only then did his ship disappear. What about what Professor Cynical spoke about? Well, think about it. If you're not in a group, and in someone's Corvette when they leave the anomaly, there are only two options. Either you get teleported to their system, or they get teleported to your system. I think the second option is much worse. I don't like the solution Hello Games picked, but compared to the alternative, yeah. Oh, and if there are two more players on your Corvette, or even more? You see, there is no real choice other than what Hello Games eventually implemented. I also tested some of the tests with Rocker, one of the Discord staff members. When Rocker and I were in group and he used the uplink, I again saw myself in space, but then I got a white screen. I was in my ship, I could fire the photon cannons, but I couldn't see a thing. I had to quit the game. I don't know if this is related to the fact that Rocker is a PS5 player and Big Man Jesse VR was on PC, but be aware. We retested the other scenario when I used the uplink while on his ship. This time I ended up in the space station and Rocker was still in his ship. So far, this looks like a good option to run away from hijackers, whereas disabling multiplayer may not be so good. This white screen issue happens when the quote-unquote hijacker uses the uplink, so that's not an issue for someone who wants to use it to escape. Now it was time to test the ultimate test. Can this device save you from a death loop? What's a death loop? See this video about avoiding griefers on your screen. In short, it's a base made by a malevolent player who found a way to ensure that once you start receiving environmental damage, you will continue to receive it even after you respawn.
Extreme heat damage detected.
You will die again and again, eventually losing all your inventory. Yes, the method was discovered, and no, we're not going to tell you how it's done. And yes, it's been reported to Hello Games and we're waiting for them to fix it.
Extreme heat damage detected.
But this time, we have a solution. Place an orbital uplink as close as possible to the position in your inventory that the cursor points to when you open it, and make sure it stays there. If you start getting environmental damage,
Extreme heat damage detected.
open your inventory and use the uplink. You'll be on the station and the damage stops. We therefore call upon Hello Games to make the uplink a standard blueprint available to all in every game mode, not only in the expedition. And in the meantime, come to my Discord server and ask for a couple of uplinks, and we will gift them to you gladly. If you want to learn more on the subject, watch this video on your screen. GoodGuysFree here, and I hope you stay safe so I can see you again soon.